We are back. We're getting a few graphics changed there after the update. Annex officially the #1 seed in the open bracket, which means they get the opportunity to play FaZe in round #1. Before we jump into that talk, Benson, who did you take most wanted or strictly business?
I'm going to go with strictly business because I think they guaranteed 2 maps. I think FaZe, as I mentioned before, can carry them through S&D, being one of the best S&D players in the game, period. So that means one more map. If John just has a decent map out of 3 respawns, which I think he's more than likely going to do, combined with Stainville's incredible knowledge of the game, they should be able to pick up a respawn. Should be those guys who are victorious.
All right, so you're calling SB. I'm going most wanted, and this is based purely on the fact that I have not seen strictly business practice recently, and I have seen a lot of games for most wanted and a lot of stuff I've been impressed by. But this is a big toss-up for me. I think it'll be the best match of all Friday night. And I was talking to Mr. X. He's like, man, there's no huge matches on Friday night. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is going to be the closest match potentially in the entire tournament. Really excited to see who comes out on top from the youngsters. Now, before we get to the next match, I was reading the chat, and they have an interesting conversation. Someone said Clayster is in the top 5 S&D players, and he got roasted. So here are my top 5 that I'm suggesting after reading some of the things in the chat. They're saying Killa, FaZe, Nadeshot, Crim6, and Haggy are arguably the top 5 search and destroy players. Who do you put on the top of your list?
Definitely, I wouldn't say Parasite.
No Parasite.
5 S&D. No way. Not in this game. Maybe Black Ops 2.
All right, let's cut it down to our top 4. Crim6, Nadeshot, FaZe, and Killa.
You can't. How can you argue with that? That's just, at this point, that's like cold hard facts. It's like guaranteed. I would say Neslo. He would be my 5th in that list. Anyone that seems to forget, and this guy always plays well in Search and Destroy. Always, you know, Black Ops 2, he was a demon in Search and Destroy. He was the kind of player who sort of took a note out of FaZe's book and loved to just run crazy strategies. I remember when he was using the shotgun on standoff, and he made that work.
So did you put Neslo at #1?
Oh, no.
Who's #1 then? Let's skip to that.
Pump the brakes, Bucket. Pump the brakes. I'm just saying, Neslo's made it into the top 5.
Okay.
In terms of #1, though, I would go with...
I'm putting you on the internet with this.
You are putting. Thank you very much for that, by the way. I'm going to say, in this order, FaZe, Killa, Nadeshot. Then I would go with Crim, Neslo. That would be my order. But actually, let me change that. Because Crim dropped 20 in S&D.
He did. He also went 11-0 at Champs in S&D.
That alone is kind of like impressive.
Nameless just dropped to 20 in S&D yesterday.
Did he really?
Yeah. But did you decide on your top spot?
I hate you so much for this. Actually, FaZe, then Killa, then Crim, then Nadeshot.
FaZe, you are the most versatile and on top of Benson's list.
I don't think you can put anyone else other than him at the top. Like, I just don't see how you can. All right, Crim dropped 21 map, which is cool and all. Record, which, you know, as you said, Nameless kind of joint, but still, for consistency, for pure consistency alone, I would say FaZe and Killa are 1 and 2.
All right, so here we go. Let's keep
what's your top 5? No, I want to hear your top 5, Bucket.
You want mine?
Yeah. You put me on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot.
Whew. If I'm going consistency, I go Crim. I think Crim is going to be my guy who, regardless of the pressure, regardless of the situation, if it's round 1 or the grand finals, I will put my money on Crim6. Boom. All game modes, anytime. Crim6, #1 in the game. I just blew it up to the next level. S&D, respawn, thinking, looking good, Crim6. Okay. Sorry. He's been taking a lot of selfies recently, learning from Mr. X. So anyway, let's keep this show going. It's a bracket show. FaZe is facing off against Annex, and I don't know enough about Annex to put them above FaZe here, especially after FaZe's performance knocking out Evil Geniuses at Gfinity. I feel like they've taken their game to the next level, learning from their losses at AEL, and they're really hungry right now. I got FaZe moving on, but who's the key player for you to watch this weekend from this FaZe lineup?
So from FaZe, after watching him at G3, has to be Apathy. You know, he's been an X Factor for a team since Strictly Business. He kind of came onto the COD esports scene, and everyone was like, oh, this guy looks talented. The next thing you know, he's a US champion, and he's single-handedly destroying what was complexity back in the time. And he just really is very, very good at this game. He seems to just understand it on a different level. You add that to the likes of Sensor and Dido, and include Parasite to it. He's just such a good team player. When his teammates are bickering, he doesn't get involved with that. He's focused on the game, and in all honesty, I think he's one of the best players that we could actually ever see on COD Ghosts.
Dude, I'm getting called dumb by all these kids in the chat. I'm about to backhand some little boys.
Damn! That's what you get. You said King Crim. To be honest, I can see what you were saying. But back on point.
Yep.
Because you said it was Bracket Show.
Apathy.
Bracket Show.
Yep. Apathy is the dude.
X Factor for me.
He's looking really good. Parasite has taken his S&D game to the next level. I want to see, can he keep it up? Because he looked incredible on LAN, not so much in his matches this week in the COD League. But the sniper on Octane from Parasite is what really got me excited. It's shown he's comfortable, he's confident, and he believes in his teammates to support. So look out for FaZe. Does Annex take a game from them, or is this a 3-0?
3-0.
3-0. All right.
A real quick 3-0.
Real quick. Before we switched up the bracket, I had Rise Nation here against FaZe, and believe it or not, I had Rise Nation above FaZe, just because I think they would be able to upset Sensor, they'd be able to upset Parasite with an early win. If that match happens later in the tournament, Benson, you owe me $5 when Rise wins.
I'll give you $20.
20?
That's just not going to happen, though.
Okay, all right, if it happens, and I'm right.
FaZe, no.
Rise Nation, I will help spread the wealth. $4 to all of you guys.
I remember going into the booth at
to me.
Gfinity with them, and they were like, hey, this is our time. We believe. Dido went off that event, and he's always been a player that I look at when I'm casting. I'm like, I don't know how he does some of the stuff he does. He's very, very talented, and as you mentioned earlier on, there's no EG at this event, so I think everyone's hunger level went from, I kind of want to win, to, all right, I'm winning an event, because it's like when the best team in the world isn't there, opens the door for absolutely anyone to take it. We could see so many upsets. It could be crazy. But I think FaZe, out of a lot of those teams there, after playing so well at Gfinity, really do have it in them now. They recognize, all right, we played well on LAN. Let's do the same thing again and try and take the championship.
All right, last match we have here in the top half of the bracket is Envy going up against Justice. Justice, I don't get it. I don't understand how they're so low in the MLG COD League when they have players like Twiz going so big. Let's take a look at this Justice squad first before we dive into Envy. This Justice team, they've been together through Season 2, now into Season 3. BL Fire, he has these games where I'm just like, wow, what are you doing? In other games, I'm like, okay, where are you at, BL Fire? But the guy who's been on his game right now is Twiz. And some of the stats from this guy, 1.29 overall KD. Overall. In all of his games online in Season 3. Dom caps, 3.8. His blitz caps, very low, above a 1 there with a 9.91. 24 kills, though, a respawn, and it's his S&D that is really surprising me. I mean, he is at the top for KD and S&D, also at the top for respawn. Is Twiz's performance online, do you expect that to carry over to LAN, and can Justice take out this Envy lineup?
The big thing is, yes, Twiz's performance, I think, will carry through to LAN. I think he's always been a talented player, but now, again, he's kind of finally found it, if you will, but I think he's just found it way, way too late, as opposed to a lot of other players. Game's almost over. We're almost at a new game, and he's now sort of peaked. You want to be doing that, 6 months ago, but still, take nothing away from him. He's very, very talented. Now, what's interesting is, this team statistically are doing very, very well, but they're not winning.
Right.
That shouldn't make any logical sense, but I think Sin has the third highest S&D KD, whilst Twiz is number 2 in S&D KD, and he has the overall number 1 KD out of everyone in the league in respawn. But they're not winning. That just shows that there's some teamwork issues which are clearly missing when it comes to respawn games, especially. If you have one of the best players on your team and you're not winning respawn, something is going seriously wrong. I remember speaking to, I think it was Aches, months and months and months ago, and he said, if you can outslay your opponent, you have nothing to worry about, because you can learn the strategy after that. But if you're outslaying and losing, you're doing something seriously, seriously wrong. That should never, ever happen. And that's kind of the case here. So I think going up against a team like EnVyUs, who have just won their first championship, I just can't see that happening. I think Envy should just whitewash them.
All right, well, it says here in my script from Ron that their strength is they all perform well in a stats point of view. Overall in the stats, Twiz leads the team in KD overall, second in S&D KD, correcting myself, and Sin is actually third in that KD list. So 2 players in the top 3 for S&D KD. If they can't win their S&Ds this weekend, they're screwed because their respawn game is awful. I'm looking at some of the stats. 0-6 on Warhawk and Octane Blitz. Then they're 1-10 in Domination, Sovereign, and Strike Zone.
What, 1-10?
1-10. So
I actually just laughed. I feel bad.
You should. You're a jerk. So they need to step up their respawn game mode. Otherwise, I expect Envy to blow them out. And the guy to do it is going to be Formal. We just saw a 49 bomb from this guy, looking ridiculous. Very few players able to do that. I love the addition of JCap and Formal to the Envy lineup, joining Merc and Nameless. And we've seen not only strong performances from Formal and JCap at Gfinity, but I felt like Merc was taking his game to the next level. Nameless wasn't as loud at Gfinity, but online already he has been putting up serious numbers, including those 20 kills on Sovereign Search.
Yeah, I think as a team as well, it's important to note they have such good chemistry. They really do. Too many teams will come together and they'll think, oh, on paper we're going to be brilliant, we're going to win championships, but they just don't get along. This Envy team, it's honestly, it's like spending time with a family. It's like they're all brothers. It's amazing to see. It really is. Formal has fitted in really, really well. A lot of praise was given on Formal early on when he made that transition from Halo to Call of Duty. I remember a lot of people were saying, hey, this guy's going to be the best player in the game in a couple of months. Trust me, he is. There was kind of some doubt. I think a lot of people were like, well, I'm not going to believe the hype until he wins anything. Well, now he has won something. He's won a major championship, and he's the first ever player to win one in Halo on COD. Just let that sink in for a minute. He's won a championship on Halo and Call of Duty. All right, they're both FPSs, but parallel in difference. Absolutely so different. And that just comes down to this man's pure accuracy, his shot. Watching him play Advanced Warfare, a game which first time he touched it, just went off. He is just one of the most naturally gifted players in terms of all video games. I think he's a Diamond League of Legends player. He's an amazing Counter-Strike player. You give this guy any game pocket, and he will be very, very talented. He's just a natural gamer. And I think for that exact reason, he can fit into any team. I mean, if you just look statistically at Formal, it's a 1.09 KD. His respawn is 26.04. His S&D kind of lets him down a little bit. I think that's coming from the kind of Halo background. You just kind of want Formal to try and stay alive. He will go clutch in those gunfights, but he's relying more on his teammates like Merc and JCap with the experience of Call of Duty to kind of guide him through that search and destroy. Even at this point, I feel he still relies a lot on those guys.
All right, so we're both calling Envy in this matchup. The question is, do Justice take a game? I have Envy actually dropping one, 3-1, as they struggle with their surge. Do you agree, or is it a 3-0?
I honestly think it's just going to be 3-0. I think Envy are going to be way too confident after the Gfinity victory that they can kind of come in, settle down. Obviously, they just come back from Germany. They'll be rested. Head will be in the game. They want to bring home a second championship in a row for EnVyUs, and I think when it comes down to game time, they're going to be on form.
All right, so Envy, one of our teams playing on Friday night. Guys, we're going to a quick commercial break. So far, we told you we think Optic Nation is going through. We had differing opinions on whether it would be most wanted or whether it would be strictly business in our second match. We both called FaZe to go through Annex and now Envy over Justice. When we come back, we're talking Team Caliber, Optic Gaming, and more. Stay tuned here on the UMG Dallas Bracket Show.